Hey guys, I am Ibigandscary. I'm bringing you another StarCraft 2 replay, this time featuring in our top right-hand side, IOdollars, or $10, depending on how you read that. And I'm going to go with IOdollars because that is incredibly clever if that is in fact his name. I like it a lot. He is a Blue Zerg in the Masters League, and speaking of Masters League, Hordeon is in our bottom left, also in Masters League. I know he used to be in Grand Masters, but you know how volatile that positioning can be, and this is probably on Hordeon's way up the ladder so that he can get back up into Grand Masters. It's a Zerg versus Zerg, so it's definitely a difficult ladder to climb, and even harder on Neoplanet S just because of the map. If you guys aren't super familiar with Neoplanet S, it is incredibly small and very, very difficult to grab anything except for here natural. The thirds are incredibly exposed. I mean, look at this. Super way out there. It's very, very difficult to spread your creep. And even if you decide to get this one, which is kind of tucked away in a little cubby hole, you still have the supplemental pathway, which can't be covered by any of the traditional paths your Overlord would be positioned on. So it's very difficult to protect against those counterattacks. Both players have not decided to throw down that spawning pool at the traditional 10 mark, so it's probable that we're going to see it maybe at the 15 or maybe even a hatch first build. We just saw, or rather I just saw, a game featuring Hordeon, which was also Zerg versus Zerg. He did indeed go the hatch first build, rush to get up those Mutalisks, pretty much bypassing the entire back and forth of the Zergling counterattacks, only attacking whenever the opportunity arose to him, and really underplaying the Baneling busts that are kind of inherent to the early metagame of Zerg versus Zerg. There goes the hatch first build from both players, pretty much going back and forth, neck and neck. Absolutely fantastic. The economic side of things allowing us to rush towards those higher tech building that we really rarely see, especially on the ladder. It's very volatile, it's very back and forth, and usually the matchup, however long it takes, ends and begins with the Zerglings and the Banelings. Early gas being built for $10, which marks him as the aggressor. He's definitely throwing it down before even the spawning pool. Tells me that he's going to be teching. He's going to get that speed out very, very quickly. If he immediately saturates it with 3, he's going to have 100 gas as soon as that spawning pool finishes, which means he's going to have speed pretty much as fast as you possibly can expect with a hatch first build. On the other side of things, Hordeon's gas was significantly delayed in comparison to $10, which we can see that that saturation is already beginning. Neck and neck on the harvesters, but we're not neck and neck on the mineral income, and it's going to directly translate to more Zerglings for Hordeon, as well as more drones farther down the line, allowing him to saturate that natural just a little bit quicker. Spawning pool is going to be finishing for $10 in a relatively short amount of time. Both players are beginning to tank up that money so that they can pop out 2 queens at pretty much identical time and get those larva injects back and forth. And I think Hordeon is beginning to shy away with his Overlord, seeing that that spawning pool is indeed done. 100 gas for $10, but he doesn't have enough minerals to start that speed, which is really surprising because he got that gas so very, very quickly. Maybe $10 is not going for that super early speed. Maybe he's going to be getting up a very early layer and is going to be teching just a little bit higher and faster than Hordeon is, because Hordeon has elected to get that speed out. He has it started, and maybe Hordeon's going to be the one in the aggressive posture later on, which is really neat. 22 over 20 for the harvesters, very, very slight difference there, but Hordeon is still mining that gas, whereas the 100 gas has been pulled from $10, who has elected to go for that speed. Really, really weird. He's very delayed. I think he was distracted. Usually you see a master who is more on top of that. He pulls his harvesters as soon as he hits that 100 gas, if that's all he's deciding to do. And we really don't see any excess gas saved up. 36 excess gas means that he allowed, I think it was like 6 harvesters to go back and forth, which is a significant loss in income. It's just 1 extra drone. That's 1 extra round of Zerglings, maybe even an extra Baneling. Hordeon is getting up that Baneling nest, which explains the excess gas income that he's beginning to tank, as well as the aggressive posturing of his 2 Zerglings. Going to have to be careful not to morph them in under the watchful eye of those Overlords. 2 scouting Zerglings suiciding in just to see that there's not really a lot of saturation down here at the natural, as well as a spine crawler going to be defending it. We can see a roach warren going up behind the mineral line for $10. Oh, and those 2 rambunctious Zerglings from Hordeon managed to sneak behind the mineral line, managed to outrun the 2 Zerglings from $10, and speed is going to be finishing up for both players in a relatively short amount of time. Hordeon's going to get speed first. Oh, and look at the gap. Look at the gap. That Zergling just getting some massive, massive scouting done in the favor of Hordeon. He's going to know that he's up against just roaches as well as the Evo Chamber, but he's also going to know that that gas is just finished. If he checks out how much gas has been mined from that second one, it's only about 50 gas. One extra one extra roach. He's not going to have to deal with too many roaches. Roach Warren just now finishing +1 range on the way for 10, but we see 20 Zerglings were on the production tab a very short amount of time ago, and so many Banelings being morphed in on the low ground. Oh my goodness, $10 is going to be in for a world of hurt. 8 more Zerglings on the production tab. Hordeon is going to be going balls to the wall with this aggression, as well as just back at home throwing up 3 additional spine crawlers just to save it, so that maybe if those roaches decide to do a run by and we go into a base trade, his static defense is, oh no! The Banelings is electing to take out the spine crawler rather than going for the cluster of drones, which were just pristine. The Zerglings are going to be left alone to deal some massive damage to the roaches. A one final hurrah from the Banelings going to town on all those workers. We can see the 10 workers killed. Switch over to the economic tab, 32 over 26. Hordeon has definitely done enough damage to even out the risk that he took by producing so many of those Zerglings. We can see more Zerglings are on the production tab, 14 more Zerglings coming in, but the roaches are now all on the field. I think the moment that Hordeon had was that he needed to get that massive Baneling hit and let him take out that spine crawler instead. Losing more than half of his Banelings really just decimated the amount of damage that he could do, but he's completely negated this entire natural. He took out every single one of those drones that were working there. We can see 6 more drones on the production tab for Hordeon, as well as his own Roach Warren, 2 additional spine crawlers going up down to the natural. He's not going to have any problem at all rebuffing these roaches that are going to be pushing out, and $10 is in a terrible position. 23 over 38. Hordeon is going to be able to just macro back and crush $10. So $10 needs to do something incredibly clever with these very slow roaches. He's going to have to do a run by, but no, Hordeon, well aware of the fact that those roaches are going to have to take a very circular pathway into the main. It's going to be walking up and then is going to be rebuffed by that Roach Warren. These roaches are not going to be able to do any damage, and the Zerglings from Hordeon are just going to be nailing the coffin shut, coming in, just doing some massive damage again to the economy. 3 spine crawlers are going to be going to town on those roaches, and those roaches are going to be forced to batter down that Roach Warren. It looks like all the Zerglings have been cleaned up back at home, but $10, once again, his economy is just in tatters. 21 over 35 harvesters, repositioning the spine crawlers to once again just tuck away those roaches, and it looks like $10 is going to have to tap out any second now, because with just 3 roaches on the field, he's got another round of Zerglings coming in, but what can those Zerglings possibly expect to do against this many spine crawlers, against this many Zerglings already on the field for Hordeon? And Hordeon is just, he's totally won. Poor $10. Poor $10. I want to know how many drones would have been taken out by Hordeon if he hadn't sacrificed those Banelings. If you guys know of a reason why it would have been wise to take out that spine crawler with the Banelings rather than going for the economic damage, please let me know. I wonder if he's worried about like ease of access or just didn't want to have to deal with a wall off, because you can do that now with spines. I don't know. It's not readily apparent to me, but that doesn't mean that I don't know what I'm talking about. Good saturation from $10. I feel like just the timing from Hordeon was perfect. $10 was just a little bit behind on his mechanics, that excess gas, the slow speed. It allowed the... If $10 had started his speed when he could have, he would have had speed up in time to deny the scouting from Hordeon. Hordeon wouldn't have been able to get his 2 Zerglings, which were already heavily damaged, into the main. Probably wouldn't have seen the Evo chamber as well as the Roach Warren. Wouldn't have known what he was up against. Maybe making Hordeon a little bit more nervous, maybe making it so that he played a little bit more defensive and not do that Baneling bust that was so devastating to $10. I don't know. I don't know if that's the censure, but it was definitely something key in this matchup. You guys are key in my heart. You have the key to my heart because you watch my replays. If you have a game you want me to cast, you could PM me here or on Reddit. One way or another, I will see you guys later. I am Ibigandscary. Bye.